I use generative AI sometimes. Yeah. Hey friendos, it's DW. Before we get into the context of this video, might stir some things up for you and you might have some feelings. I do genuinely want your feedback and criticism and context in the comment section below, because that allows me to have a nice discourse. Those comments have been so helpful. So please share them down below and tell me what you actually think about what I've been doing here and how I'm using this stuff. So like I said at the beginning, I use generative AI as part of the Coco Boco Studios video game studio experiment. However, I don't use it to make the video game products themselves. Like when I release something, there's no GenAI art or assets or things like that. But it does get used to code it and the administrative work around it to enable publishing or releasing and developing a video game. So let's get into it a little bit with the generative AI disclosure I published on my studio website. So this is cocobocostudios.com, my studio website. You scroll all the way down to the bottom here, get to this thing. I got a link. I posted this, actually updated it today, the generative AI disclosure. Now I'm not going to read the whole document, but I updated it just before recording this video to kind of make sure that the wording was just as clear as I needed it to be. I talk about where I use it today, where I don't use it today, but where I have used it. Now the whole idea for GenAI comes from my enterprise IT job, where it's really good at being a fancy search engine, helping with concept refinement, doing research on things. I get it to do audio transcriptions for these things, these YouTube videos, stuff like that. I do use it for code assistance as well. It helps me learn and test and experiment and refactor code. It does not do solution architecture or the full game architecture, but it does allow me to run experiments. A great example of that is actually the prototype I produced after making the wrong game in one of the earlier videos. That was a web-based prototype that I basically slopped but rather just slopped together. And the reason I did that was to accelerate my own process about whether some screens I had drawn out in the GIMP would actually work as gameplay. Would I put that out as a prototype for people to play? Actually, no, I don't like that. It's just like generative AI art assets. I have tried using it as temporary art, but it creates a false sense of what you can produce. And I realize that with both art and with code, if you're putting that stuff out there, or like I say, fully Gen AI solutions, you can't control the quality. You can't control those pieces because you can't have confidence. It doesn't remove the critical thinking and the responsibility I have for creating the product. I wouldn't want to put that in front of someone thinking you can produce that. That's incorrect. AI can produce whatever it produces, cheap facsimile of what other human beings can actually create. So that's a really good example of how I do use it, but I don't use it for things like art and music and narrative and even marketing. For this website, I didn't really think about this, but I use AI to help me create this website. I'm a web developer. I can create my own website, but it accelerated it so quickly to create an 11-based website that I just had it help me create that thing. But it also did the styling. And that got me thinking of, well, I need to have some human created styling if I'm actually going to live by this thing. Things it creeps into, and I realize it can. So ripped all that CSS out, found an open source style, and it's actually listed right at the bottom here in the credits section of the website. And so you can see where this comes from. And that's a big part of where I think the line is drawn for generative AI for me. And ultimately, I need to give people credit, not AI's credit. If I had AI gen something, I should credit it accordingly. But I'm having it code with me accountable for that code. So that's how I've kind of rolled with it. So why do any of this disclosure stuff? Why make this YouTube video and talk about the poison pill that I'm putting into my studio? Realistically, it's for transparency. GenAI is another tool, and the industry at large hates it, and rightfully so. on a lot of fronts. It does not replace human creativity. The big studios that are trying to sell all the Gen AI, it's not going to make these people go away. You're not going to stop paying humans to do the work. But it could make them be more freed up to do the work you want them to do by getting rid of the administrative garbage that they need to do to get the work done. And that's where I wanted to do this. It was just to be transparent and very clear about how I think using this is like using Google back before it was all AI-ified and whatever else. There is value in this tool, and I realize it has its challenges. However, it enables me to actually try to do this in a way that doesn't mean I have to quit my day job, doesn't mean I have to sacrifice time with my kids, and try to do this in a way that is more sustainable for me in terms of a balance. But it won't replace me working on art for my game, even if I'm terrible at it, or writing music or any of that. I will find people to work with, or I will buy assets created by other human beings and use those things. Anything that my studio creates and puts in front of other humans as a potential product will not have Gen AI content. And with that, I'm gonna call it. Thank you for watching. If you did watch all the way to the end, if you're angry and frustrated with me, please drop a line in the comments below. I do really want to hear what you're saying. Like I said, I use it for all kinds of stuff. You can go to my generative AI disclosure about how I even use it to help produce this podcast, not to replace people, but really to help me expedite getting this thing out so I can go back to making video games. This devlog's purpose is to make me accountable to myself, not to take me away from the games, and it has done that in the past, but that's for a whole other video. And with that, have a pleasant day and or evening, and take care.